Hola Ale, sí, yo hablo un poco español, pero yo no uso mucho en mi vida y yo tengo la vocabulario de una niña y mi contribución es horrible. Pero yo puedo tratar a hablar en español un poco por este video. Y sí, yo quiero ir a Costa Rica y yo fui a Costa Rica en 2 años pasados, no, solo un año pasado con mi novio. Y los tíos de mi novio vivan en Costa Rica y nosotros fuimos. Mi conjugación es horrible. Ojalá que tú puedas entender que yo quiero decir. Pero yo fui a la Parque Nacional de Manuel Antonio y yo aprender to teach, enseñar. I'm forgetting words. I'm trying really hard. Surf or I can't remember how to say learn in Spanish. Yo necesito practicar mi español más. Es muy claro aquí. Pero yo pienso que Costa Rica es muy bella y yo quiero ir un otro tiempo, for sure. Pero otras cosas que tú preguntar, random facts about Fiji. Back to English because I don't have vocabulary to talk about Fiji. So random fact about my time in Fiji. I can't give anything away. There will be no spoilers coming from me for this season of Survivor. But I will say, random fact is that there are a ton of little like crabs running around everywhere. And when you're sleeping in the dirt, the crabs will like crawl on top of you and stuff. And a lot of people would freak out. But it really seemed that the crabs only wanted to crawl on me. Because there was many nights when I would wake up and I would just have a little crab on me. Like, I was like, what? Like, in that first couple days, I like had a crab. Like, the first night we were sleeping on the beach, just like, kind of like running across my arm. And I was like, what is this? And I was like, well, this is what it's like living in Fiji, I guess, at least in the wilderness part of it. But for your thing at the end, the last question, you said you're talking to you're a panelist for a conference about learning foreign languages with autism. That is so cool. I think that is amazing. And it's really awesome that you want to like share your experience and talk about how teachers can like help get to know our world more as people on the autism spectrum. That is so cool. And my advice for that, like that is such a big thing. Trying to think about what's the best thing to tell teachers about our experience. And honestly, I think it's got to just be that like you need to support us. You can't treat us the same as every other student because people have unique things that they need help with. And for me, one of my things is that I get really overwhelmed with stuff sometimes. And that comes from having a lot of stimulus. And often that wouldn't be something that would happen in the classroom for me. But for example, in sports, when I ran cross country, you're running a race and there's all these fans who are yelling at you and are being super loud. And you're like working as hard as you can to like run as fast as you can. And it was a really overwhelming experience. And so I would, at the end of races, sometimes have what I call episodes where I would get very overwhelmed, overstimulated, and I would start screaming and crying and grabbing myself and scratching myself and like shaking, rocking, doing all the stimming and stuff, which is really hard for people to see. And so I think there's other kids that aren't like me that they don't get that from sports, but maybe they get that from things that overwhelm them in the classroom. And I think the biggest thing for teachers to understand is that you need to address this not as if there's something wrong with the student, or they just need to, if a teacher knows that a student has autism and they see this happening, I think it's important for them to perhaps explain to the other students that it's like, hey, this is a normal thing, a normal reaction. And it's not something wrong with them. It's not something weird. Like, I get that it's out of the ordinary, but this is something that people have to deal with. And so just kind of I think the education aspect and sharing that with, if you have one student who has autism in a class and everyone else is a neurotypical student, I think teaching the whole class, not singling out the person with autism to be like, oh, tell everybody about your autism, but perhaps showing them a book or a story about people with autism in general and discussing autism with the class, and so that they have a background on what autism is. I had a really hard time when I was in third grade, so I was 10 years old, and my class was reading a book about autism, which was apart from me, but they were reading about autism, and the teacher asked, oh, like, does anyone know what autism is? And there was kids in my class that were like, oh, it means your brain is broken, it means something's wrong with you, you don't know how to talk to people, like, it means you're messed up. And I was sitting there always having believed that this was just something special part of me, that I hearing other people say this, it just made me so sad and so upset. And so we then had a class discussion, and the teacher was like, no, like, there are, like, sure, it makes them different, but, like, it's not messed up, it's this and that, like, explaining autism so that the kids could learn and understand, because at such a young age, like, they don't know much about it. So I think that's kind of what I would say to have teachers understanding people with autism. I hope that was helpful. I'm sorry I couldn't do all of this in Spanish. Yo necesito expandar mi vocabulario en español. But yeah, good luck with the panel. I hope it goes really, really well. I am so glad that you are inspired by me going on Survivor, and I'm so happy for you get to continue to watch my story with autism and just in the game of Survivor. So hope you watch this week. This upcoming episode should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Have a great day. Bye.